Next, the leaders of Russia and the United States spoke via the telephone on Thursday. Now, during the call, which was requested by Moscow, President Vladimir Putin warned U.S. President Joe Biden that any move to impose sanctions could lead to a rupture of ties. Adding sanctions would be a colossal mistake. The U.S., meanwhile, urged Russia to de-escalate tensions with Ukraine, vowing to respond decisively if Russia further invades Ukraine. For more on this story, here's Felix Light reporting from Moscow.
To be quite honest, it's a little bit hard to discern sort of the nature of this. Certainly what we've seen from both sides is, a common spectacle in recent weeks of them basically trying to sort of stress the positives of what went on. We've seen Putin or the Russian deputy foreign minister speaking on behalf of Putin, saying that the talks were positive and saying that, there's more progress to be made in January when the two sides meet again in Geneva. So I think the two sides are clearly invested in the idea of that the relationship is good and that it's improving and that there's at least some kind of possibility to make progress in these talks. But I think as well at the same time, it's very important to remember quite how far apart the two positions are. There were sort of two potential sort of timelines going forward that were elaborated by the Biden side, as we understand. There's of course, if Russia decides to attack Ukraine, there will be vicious sanctions. We are led to believe from the U.S. side. If not, then there is the possibility of broader cooperation. But I think this really illustrates quite how far apart the two sides are. There is very little sort of shared common ground on the Ukraine issue. The Russian side stressed that they'd reached some kind of agreement on the US agreeing not to place defensive weapons in Ukraine. The US said that agreement was just a pre-existing policy that was restated last night. So I think despite the sort of friendly noises and the pledges for more cooperation ahead of the next meeting in Switzerland, I think there's still a very, very large political, a very, very large geopolitical gulf between the two sides. And we'll definitely be following this story very, very closely to see how this sort of crisis plays out in the next weeks and months.
Felix Light reporting there from Moscow earlier.